What up, folks? Today I'm posting this video of this recent debate I had with Dylan Burns. It's about homosexuality in Africa, and he disagrees with it. So I'm making this video pre the debate. I'm going to show you right now that because I've been reading some of the comments of his fans on the channel, and like some of them are very disturbing. There's some guys calling me, oh, I'm evil. Some people are calling me, oh, just I'm a hate monger. Or some guys just say, oh, this guy just want to make me be racist. So I mean, if you're a racist, where the fuck do you go fuck all gay black people or any black people for that matter? So it's just idiotic, and I just want to lay this out because these people are very arrogant. This is peak Western arrogance. This is peak Western chauvinism. Because they think they know everything that is right. They think their lifestyle, their life experience is ubiquitous to the whole world. They know everything, because they went to American universities or I don't know, English universities, whatever, so they know everything, they know everything. These little twerps, and they can judge us Africans, and condescend to us, and this is the same kind of arrogance. They sound like the same kind of arrogance as their forefathers were when they colonized Africa, because they were trying to civilize us, because we were less civilized than they were, because some people were not wearing clothes, or, some tribes were not wearing clothes, some tribes didn't believe in the right God, which was the Christian Catholic God mostly, and so they brutalized and raped an entire continent on that premise of civilizing. Even when there was on the Atlantic slave ships, there were priests baptizing slaves on their way to 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 hell, a life of misery. So where do these people get the gall? Where do Westerners get the gall, especially white Westerners get the gall to judge us, to tell us what morally is right for us to follow, since after all what they did, and even the time of the freedom of against colonialism, the wars against colonialism in Africa, America supported apartheid South Africa, or America supported UNITA, America supported the murder of Patrice Lumumba and his dismemberment, and I don't know where his body is. Nobody knows actually, because they're not going to tell, and they're not going to give it to people. There's certain rumors that they burnt the the remains and etc. So, and even recently with Libya, man, they fucking destroyed it. And CFF home neocolonialism. So, where the fuck do these people get the gall, get the nerve, to tell us what is right and wrong, So so I have to say, if we are truly free, if we truly believe in democracy, that doesn't mean the whole world is going to be the same, And if we are truly free as Africans, it is up to us to choose our own culture, our own future. It's to choose our own destiny and where our path is supposed to lead, because you have a good heart and you have a good head. And if you don't like it, then fuck off, man. Because hey, look, you don't own us, and we run shit over here, man. Not you, okay? So fuck off.
To debate me on Ukraine, and I think the other topic was like homophobia in Africa.
The Ugandan law, yes.
Okay, got you. The Ugandan
Burns
law.
is an
Satnami Stock, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub.
Bankrupt
So,
man.
which would you like to start with?
I guess let's start with Africa, no?
Sure. What exactly did you want to debate me on that? Because I haven't really talked about the Ugandan law much. That it's a very, very gross law, and you should not execute people for being gay. For those who don't know, they passed a law that you can execute people for being gay. It's pretty simple. If you're gay, they can kill you.
I don't know about the exact about the law. It hasn't passed yet, and they're still going through it.
Mm-hmm.
There hasn't been. They're still debating on it and how the law is going to apply. But basically it is illegal to be gay. But I don't know about the execution part. They're still like debating the part, if you're gay, they're going to execute you. So I thought it was about 10 years in prison for something if you're distributing propaganda, or you're publicly advocating it, or that kind of stuff. I don't remember the execution part, because I don't think it's execution. It's like prison.
I can go back and check 1 second. Uganda death penalty gay, because I didn't pay. I did like I think one segment on this like a month ago, and then I don't do much on African politics. Here it is. Ugandan MPs passed bill imposing death penalty for homosexuality. This is from a month ago. Human rights campaigners condemn bill introducing capital and life imprisonment sentences. MPs in Uganda have passed a controversial anti-LGBTQ plus bill, which would make homosexual acts punishable by death, attracting strong condemnation from rights campaigners. All but 2 of 389 legislators voted late on Tuesday for the hardline anti-homosexuality bill, which introduces capital and life imprisonment sentences for gay sex and quote-unquote recruitment, promotion, and funding of same-sex activities. Yeah, so I mean, this is like arresting and or death penalty for being gay. I mean, either or is horrific, either way.
Yeah, okay, but my point is though is just it is number one is their culture, and number two it is that you, like you said before, you don't cover a lot about Africa, right?
Yeah, no, I don't cover Africa super heavily, no.
Yeah, like most people really don't care about Africa, but there's a lot of problems going on there. I'm an African myself, African immigrant to America, and there's a lot of problems going on there right now, and it makes me tired that that only time that what do you call white people care about us is because when they want to push their agenda or we go against their agenda. So there's coups going on there, there's wars going on there, there's famines going on there. There's neo-colonialism going on there. You heard about Matt Gaetz interviewing the Africa Corps general. We train African troops, right? You heard about that debate?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Matt Gaetz was interviewing the general that trains African troops, and he was talking about quite a few of our generals, at least there's been at least 2 reported that retrained, overthrew the government in a coup. So there's all this stuff going on there, and just people are just worried about like stuff that really no Africans worried about. That this law. First of all, this law, I guess, it is stupid, because I guess they're just trying to play to their base. That's all it is. There's not that much homosexuals to begin with.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't think so.
Are you gay?
No, I'm not gay. No.
Okay, so when you say no, basically no Ugandans care about this, I would assume that it would be if you're not gay in Uganda, it's probably not a gigantic priority for you unless you're an ally, or you have gay relatives, or you're maybe an activist on the issue. But I think part of the reason probably why you don't care is because you're not gay, and so you're not going to possibly be killed for who you love. Now, I mean, you can say it's
their... but like I said before, though, go ahead. All right, finish up, Dylan. Sorry.
I mean, the thing is, we can say it's their culture, right? But I've always thought that was a piss poor defense for some like really brutal stuff. One of the main defenses used by segregationists during the segregation era is that the race divide between whites and black people in the United States was part of American culture. And, the rest of the world just didn't understand it. The apartheid government in South Africa used the same defense, that it was just part of their culture, that the rest of the world just doesn't understand the society that they've built. If you go to India, many of the discriminatory policies that have been instituted by Modi's government or the really aggressive caste system that has been historically very discriminatory in India, it would just be defended. Well, it's culture. It is what it is. Some people might make this defense about any number of very brutal practices, but I do not think just using your culture as a shield for oppression is fair or deserving of respect.
No, but my point is, though, there's many like minorities there, many minority cultures, many minority many oppressed people, many like damaged people in Africa, many hurt people. And so the only time this comes up, like, the only times, we care about Africans, or not, I'm not saying we, but I'm an African myself. So, but, the only time, like, Africa makes the news or CNN or etc. is because of a minority that is basically, I don't know, like 1%, something like that, while there's other people suffering. And even inside the minority, the gay population, I'm pretty sure, the gay person in Congo outside of it, like, would rather have peace in Congo and no more warlords and stuff like that, outside of having a what you call gay pride parade, because the gay pride parade in Congo is not going to solve
Well,
any of
this
the
isn't
what you call
about gay pride parade. Let's be clear. Like, there's a huge divide between gay marriage and a gay pride parade and like drag queens and killing somebody for being gay. There's like a huge divide between this and that, right? So this isn't like, let's not like downplay the severity of this. Some people, I know when it comes to international law, trying to talk about the word genocide when talking to sexual minorities is kind of difficult, and international human rights scholars disagree on whether that should be included. But if there is a way to genocide gay people, it is through laws like this.
I mean,
I mean, if I passed a law saying we're going to kill all the black people in America, would that be genocide?
yeah, but I mean, like, you just a sexual minority. Like, that's what I'm saying. That there's so many cultures and stuff like that. There's so many rich cultures and etc. Because to begin with, gay people cannot build a civilization, because two men cannot procreate or two women cannot procreate.
Well,
so you need a man or a woman to procreate. So I mean, like, by itself, they would extinct by themselves in the way, and there was just a gay society.
Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't believe that gays occur naturally, that it's like a social contagion. And so what they'll do is they try to eliminate gays from public life to eliminate the quote unquote social contagion. The Chechens tried to do this a few years ago. There was a documentary released about it, very good documentary, about the crackdowns and the extrajudicial killings of homosexuals.
Okay, but about Chechnya, like, let's going back to another war, like a war-torn country that has a lot of blood.
By the way, like you're saying, like we only talk about this when, like, we only talk about this. This is all that gets attention in the West. You asked to have this conversation with me, right?
No, because I'm sick about, like, when you guys talk about Africans, you talk about like stuff that really it's not in the radar. Like, I mean, I want, like, people, if you're like, for example, you're a political guy, right? When you talk about Africa, I talk about, like, about the CFA franc, like neocolonialism of France. How France, with its CFA franc, has basically put down Africans, and basically, like a vampire sucks the blood out of African economies, and puts it into France, because all those, like, CFA francs money is in France. Other things, the invasions of France as well, like, the military operations of France, of Germany, and etc. And the guys are fighting terrorism. They're coming and putting military bases, many places in Africa, but nobody cares. Like I said, so Africa is a dark continent. We have a lot of oppression. We have a lot of suffering. It's the poorest continent as well. And I find it disheartening when people say, oh, they want to help about Africans, they care about minorities, and, like, the things they talk about are just like, oh, gay laws and gay rights. Even the first place, like I said, well,
to be clear, they're passing the gay laws. They're making it a conversation about homosexuals, right? If they wouldn't pass the law in the first place, I wouldn't be talking. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, it's a stupid law, but, like, I'm just saying, though, but are they really that, like, is homosexual pervasive in Uganda that they try to make this law? But at the end, the
thing, by the way, you said that earlier when you said, like, oh, there isn't even those many homosexuals in Uganda. This is ridiculous. There are homosexuals in every society across the world, but the more homophobic and less accepting the society is, the less present you're going to see it in public life. This is how Razman Kadyrov, the dictator of Chechnya, was able to say there's no gays in Chechnya, because if you're publicly gay in Chechnya, they're going to execute you, or they're going to throw you in a prison chamber to be tortured, shocked with electric therapy, or beat you with pipe.
Well, like, first of all, I watched that documentary too. A lot of it was propaganda, against the Chechen leader.
Continue.
Okay, and every country has its taboos as well. Like, in America, we lampoon people for sleeping with prostitutes. I've seen, like, a video of a guy that that was trying to sleep with a prostitute, and he came on national television. He had the cop put him, was it Sheriff Grady from Florida? He put him on. He put him on national television, embarrassed him, probably lost his job, probably lost his wife and kids, So, and then arrested them. So, like, just because for sleeping with prostitutes. Well, you can go in Amsterdam and just sleep with a prostitute and nobody cares, but in America, that's a taboo.
Are we really going to compare
taboo,
sleeping with a prostitute to just being gay?
No, but I'm just saying we have sexual taboos, right? That's what I'm saying. Like in America, you get arrested for sleeping with a prostitute.
You can get arrested for sleeping with a prostitute. There's no death penalty that comes with sleeping with a prostitute for either the prostitute or the person who sleeps with the prostitute.
Well, they're arguing about the death penalty. I don't think they're going to put it in there. They're just going to say, prison sentence. But anyway, okay, there's a taboo for that. There's also a taboo for for marrying more than one woman. You go to jail for that too. That's why the Mormons left to Mexico, and the ones here, the ones in America, they changed their religion to make it one man and one woman. But so we have taboos as well, sexual taboos and marriage taboos as well in our country. So every country has taboos, and
if I was trying to justify racism in my country, I could be like, all countries are racist. Like all countries are racist against somebody.
No,
right?
but you don't even acknowledge that we have taboos in America. Yeah, people would have.
What do you mean I don't acknowledge it? Of course, we have taboos in America, but I think there's a gigantic gap between talking about killing somebody for being gay and arresting somebody for sleeping with a sex worker.
I know, they're going to arrest them too. That's what I said. They're going. From what I heard recently, they're going to take on the death penalty. They're just going to put it prison sentences. But either ways, all right. Concerning the law, yeah. I think it is a wrong time to put it there because I think Uganda has more pressing matters either ways. But they're just trying to play to their bases. But what I'm trying to say is, though, why is America always trying to push the gay agenda to Africa? So every time, a gay, an African president comes to CNN, they always ask about the gay question. That's the pressing matter about Africa. We don't have other problems that, they asked that to the Kenyan president, to the Ugandan president, to, I forgot, Robert Mugabe before he died.
Well, because I think it's a few reasons. I think the first reason is because a lot of LGBT activists in the international community do genuinely care about the status of queer people in Africa, but also the status of queer people everywhere, like in Iran or Saudi Arabia, or in any society where homosexuality is criminalized. But I think the other reason is because when you ask a lot of these leaders, they kind of go crazy when you ask them these questions. So we ask them, what about the gays? And then they'll look at the camera and be like, they're gross, they're disgusting, they're perverts, they're pests in our society. They'll start doing almost like Hitler speeches about homosexuals.
Well, like I said, it's a taboo in their culture, and it's a wrong time to talk about when they're trying to talk politics with a leader of a country. What do you think of sexuality, man?
Because if you're passing laws to criminalize consensual behavior between two people who were born that way, born as homosexuals, I think that is something that a leader should be confronted on. Do you think it should be, oh, so I heard you might kill all the gays? We would talk about that, but sorry, but it's just not that important. We don't care. Is that how it should be talked about?
Nobody. Okay, I'm originally from Ethiopia, right? So nobody's in Ethiopia. We have our own problems right now, but gay is taboo. But nobody's talking about killing gays. We have other problems to do. Same thing with the Kenyan president. At that time, there was no laws passed to kill gay people, etc.
Okay, but we're talking about the Ugandan law. There is a law in Uganda talking about killing gays.
I know, okay, but I'm just saying though, in general, that Americans and the American media is pushing that whenever they talk to African president or whenever bring up Africa, that's it's a progressive.
I think this might slightly be. I think this might be confirmation bias. Because when you see somebody talk about the gays, it probably in your head you're like, the gay agenda, there it is again. Every time you hear it.
Well, no, I just want them to talk about Africa and talk about serious stuff we care about. Even gay people, like I said, they would get killed as well on the wars that get fought and the famines. and etc. And I'm pretty sure the gays as well, like however small the minority they are, would appreciate if we fixed Africa and the Westerners, instead of talking about gay stuff, talk about fixing about Africa and serious situations.
I don't know if you can really speak on their behalf when like earlier you were like, oh, there's not really many gays anyway, and like it's like a silly law, and you're talking about a law that's like to kill them. I mean, like if I was part of any group and they were going to pass a law to kill people in that group or arrest them for being part of that group, that would seem like a pretty high priority for me.
No, I'm just saying that Africa is a big continent, and every time that comes up, what do you call it? When you guys talk about it, or even when the president, comes to CNN and stuff like that, instead of talking like real, meat of the matter stuff, like
well, I mean, like later today we have booked a talk with from somebody from Sudan who worked in a think tank in Sudan, and we're going to be talking about the conflict between the rapid support forces and the military. We're going to talk about the history of the Janjaweed. We're going to go into it. We're going to talk about the reign of Omar al-Bashir, the democracy movement, how it fell apart. We're going to do all those. We're going to do that segment. Now, you wanted to talk about this. It's not really a topic I've talked about much on my channel. So is your axe to grind against me and my coverage of this, or just generally how, well, a lot of times in media, they just talk about the gays a lot in Africa and they need to talk about other stuff as well?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, like not just just in general, like in general about the media, in general about the state and because just obfuscating like a lot of the big problems that's going on in Africa, which they never talk about. I never heard CNN talk about the French neocolonialism in Africa because that's their buddy. Buddies want to talk about that.
Well, I don't really like talking about the French because they're French, but I think when it comes to this issue, what's always rubbed me the wrong way is it's like the same thing that happens with Ukraine, where sometimes I hear people say, why does Ukraine get so much attention? And it rubs me the wrong way because I've seen a lot of the suffering here. I've seen a lot of the pain here. And I see even with all the attention Ukraine has gotten, they still need a lot more help if they're going to get out of this on the other side. I'm working with deminers in the Kharkiv Oblast right now. And the numbers I'm being told for how long they're going to be removing explosives from the soil in Ukraine, we're talking like 70 years of demining work. And it's probably going to be longer because that's only with the current amount of mines and bombs, and there's still more being fired, right? And so a lot of people, even though it's gotten a lot of attention, the scale of the issue is ginormous. And so I think the solution, if you care about all these other issues, isn't to talk about Ukraine less and then replace that talk with Ukraine about other issues. It's to talk about Ukraine, but also see if we can bring attention to other issues as well. If you're a homosexual in Uganda, this law is 100% a priority for you, because this law is going to dictate whether you can love the people you can love, or whether you can go to prison just for expressing who you are, or if you can even share this with your friends or family who you are, because who knows, maybe they'll tell the police and then they'll kick in your door and drag you off because you kissed the guy, which is a ridiculous thing for the society to be concentrating on when they have so many other important issues like you've acknowledged. But is the real problem that this is getting too much attention, or that the other issues aren't getting enough attention in comparison?
Well, I mean, both things. And lastly, just want to add that, it's just that I don't like the condescending attitude that I get talked to by Westerners, especially in the media, especially Christiane Amanpour, when I see her even talking to her leaders. Or our dictators, whatever you want to call them, but they're leaders anyways. But the condescending attitude is like, oh my God, you guys don't have gay rights. Oh, how uncivilized you are. Like being gay is like is a metric measurement of being a civilized. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like I said, everybody has his own sexual culture. Everybody has his own taboos.
I do think how you treat. I do think how you treat your most vulnerable members of your society is an indicator of how socially advanced your country is. Yes. But I wouldn't use the word civilized, because I wouldn't use that word, but I do believe that how you treat the elderly, how you treat religious and ethnic minorities, and as well as homosexuals, these can show whether a society is flourishing when it comes to civil rights, or if it's, quite frankly, lacking behind.
No, okay. So let me give a good example. Thailand. I've been to Thailand. That's lady boy central. Like, homosexuality is rampant. I mean, rampant. Okay, but like, there's a lot of gay bars and like, like the open gay. What do you call it?
Actually, that's where I
Advertising.
caught it personally.
Okay. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say, it's run by a military dictatorship, right? So, with the gay stuff, they're pretty cool. But if you criticize the government, if you speak a little bit outside of the, what do you call it, any normal areas, like, trying to criticize anything about the government, the military junta, or the king, and etc., you're basically good luck, man. You're going to go into a fucking dungeon and nobody's going to take you out of there. So, like I said, it has nothing to do with being good either. Because Thailand, in terms of what you call sexual liberation, it's pretty good, but it's a military dictatorship and with a lot of corruption. So, that's what I was saying. Sex has nothing to do with politics. And everybody has his own culture.
Hey, I think that, like, again, some societies can be better on gay rights, some societies can be worse on gay rights and have a bunch of other issues. But when's the last time you've heard of somebody talking about gay rights in Thailand, saying like, oh, we need to do this in Thailand, we need to do that in Thailand? I don't remember the last time I've heard about that. But again, like this, I feel like the solution to this isn't, oh, the gays are getting too much attention when they're talking about possibly getting executed. I think the solution is this deserves attention, but so does this, so does that, so does this, right? I think maybe like when we're not members of groups, it's very easy to like be like, it really sucks that my group or my issue isn't getting as much attention as it should. But for homosexuals in these countries, this issue is of 100% a large priority for them. I am a big advocate for democracy in Myanmar and the People's Revolution that's going on there against the military junta. And I can be an advocate for that while also saying, I think gay rights in the country are important. I don't think those two things are contradictory. I don't think it's impossible for me to say, I think corruption in Ugandan society is a major, major issue, while also saying, hey, executing gays is really, really bad, and that's a major issue as well if the government's going to go forward with something like that, or arresting gays.
Well, okay, but I mean, yeah, but it seems like the United States and like the Western media are just obfuscating what do you call it, using gay rights as an agenda to obfuscate and pinkwash stuff. Well, at the other side, like what do you call it, are the people, military men we trained are what do you call it, doing coup d'états left and right. So I mean,
what do you mean by pinkwash?
Pinkwash, I mean, like just obfuscate, like just when there's real problems, when your generals are going on, not generals, but like people you trained are going on, military men you trained doing coup d'état in like Burkina Faso and doing coup d'état in other country, or when you're having a military, like what do you call it, building military bases in Somalia and etc. And you go around talking about when an African leader comes to your country, you talk about, hey man, what about gay rights, man? I mean, really, my guy, man, that's most more important right now. Like, gay rights. I mean, people are dying, and gay people too. Like, I mean, but so, and that's my final rebuttal on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if we would apply the standard anywhere else, I feel like it would, I don't think it would stand up. Like, for example, like, again, like I could apply this like for the civil rights era in the United States. All this talk about black rights is obfuscation by communists and Soviet sympathizers in order to bring attention away from real American economic issues like housing prices, the sustainment of Social Security, and other issues that are really affecting both black and white Americans separate but equal. I mean, you could like take these elements and like apply them to so many different scenarios. I understand that you are frustrated that there's not enough attention to these other issues that you care about, but I really do not think that gays are being weaponized in order to like erase like coup d'etats. What coup d'etat is being erased in Uganda that we did by us talking about
I'm
this.
talking about the whole of Africa. I'm just talking about the whole of Africa. I'm not just specifically talking about Uganda, but I'm just talking about the whole of Africa.
Yeah,
because
we're talking about specifically Uganda here, and so if this is a tool of obfuscation, then what is being obfuscated by us talking about the fact that a country is possibly passing a law to kill gays? I mean, I feel like if any country in the world passed that law, it would get a ton of attention for good reason.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's Africa. We have a lot of deaths and suffering and coup d'états and the European invasions right now. European troops coming in, and CFA Franc, neocolonialism, etc. So we have all those things. And they don't talk about French neocolonialism. They don't talk about how our some of the people we trained are going on doing coup d'états, and how we were building new military bases in Somalia for I don't know for what reason, fighting terrorism again, and etc. So all those things, all those problems are not getting fixed, or are not getting attention, because one of the senators said in the Senate a while back about Mali, that nobody cares about Africa, which is true. Even if I go to your local library, you wouldn't find a lot of books about Africa, about the wars we had. Nobody even know about it, because nobody cares about Africa. It's just outside of the people that extract the resources and etc. And there's a lot of suffering and there's a lot of dying, and I'm pretty sure even the gay people you care about would appreciate it if we can solve those other problems instead of instead of talking about gay rights.
Why would any gay Ugandan care about the state of the Ugandan economy, corruption, or any other issue if they're just going to be shot for being who they are anyway? The inflation went down. Oh, it's great. I'm going to be executed next Tuesday.
Anyway, anyway, that's just what I said anyway. But let's move on to the Ukraine stuff.